The third take. Welcome to Nick's Picks, episode number 3. Where all we do is we just talk about fantasy football. That's it. I'm going to explain what fantasy football is for you novices, you beginners, you newbies. So, fantasy football is a game. It's entertainment. It's something that helps you look forward to every game that is being played each Sunday, or each Thursday, or each Monday, or Saturday sometimes. And it's something that you can make money at, either with like daily fantasy or being in a league and betting your friends, getting the money at the end of that. Not betting your friends, but putting money in for the league, and then whoever wins gets the money out of it. So I'm going to give you 7 things that would help you understand what fantasy football is. Okay, so or how to do fantasy football. So number 1 is you get a group of people together. These can be friends who love football, or if none of your friends love football, then go find people who love football and make new friends. These people will be known as your league. Okay, this is your league. They will make up different teams in your league. Number 2, you and your league choose players from the NFL. Current players, preferably, not old ones. You don't get any Jerry Rices or Joe Montanas or Steve Youngs, okay? Or Troy Aikmans, Emmitt Smiths, anything like that. So you have to choose current players who are playing in the NFL. This is called your draft, okay? You will draft for 16 rounds, right? Number 3, each week you choose which players from your group will go against another person in your league, okay? So you will be going against another person and their team using your team, okay? So you choose which players you think who will do well this week. Number 4, each player will get points based on what they do in their game that week, okay? And I'll break that down a little bit more once we get back to it. Number 5, whichever team has the most points at the end wins. Strange. Number 6, typically the season, okay, the length of time is 10 to 12 weeks, okay? And then there's playoffs for 2 to 3 weeks, mainly because the NFL season goes for 17 weeks, but the reason why the fantasy football season ends early is that way all players are playing the whole time, okay? Because nothing is worse than finding out that one of your players is not playing in the game. That's the worst thing that can possibly, it hurts. And then number 7, at the end, once the playoffs are done, whoever is the champion is the champion. They either get money, or they get a trophy, or they get bragging rights for the whole year, which currently I have for 2 of my leagues. So, and I only played 3, so I got 2 out of 3. That's good. All right, so let's go back into what we're talking about. We did that in 3.5 minutes. That's not bad. It's impressive for me. So, number 1, get a group of people together. Again, make sure it's people who love football. And if they are friends of yours, awesome. If they are not, make them your friends. Because if you have friends that do not love football, they are not worth being your friends. No, that's not true. But it's okay. You want more people who will love the game with you. Number 2, choose players from the NFL. This is your draft, okay? So typically what happens in a draft is like the huge thing. Everybody loves the draft, okay? Typically that's all some people focus on. That's why you want to get people who love football who will do other things with you during the season. Everybody gets together, and you will choose certain people that are playing in the NFL who you think will be good at football, okay? Typically, it's 16 rounds. You are developing your roster. This is your list of players who will play for you throughout the season, okay? Most of the times, rosters typically are quarterback. You have 2 running backs. You'll have 2 or 3 wide receivers. You may have a flex. A flex can be a wide receiver or a running back or a tight end. You can put any of those guys in there. You have a tight end position, you have a kicker position, and you have a defensive position. Okay? So, and then you will have, based on however big that's your starters, then you will have the bench. And typically that will be anywhere from 6 to 8 to 10 people even. All right? So that's why you were drafting for 16 rounds. Typically what will happen, the draft order will be random, okay? Or whoever had the worst record, if you happen to go into a league that's been around for a while, whoever had the worst record will normally be the first pick. And then it does what's called a snake draft, meaning whoever has one gets the first pick. And then it goes 1, 2, 3 all the way to 12 or 10 or 8 or however many people you have. If you have 8, 10, 12, 14, 20, okay, it'll go all the way down to them. And then that person who's at the end gets the pick of the first pick of the second round. And then it comes back. Okay, so it goes 1 all the way to 20 or 10 or whatever. And then the 20th person gets the first pick. And then it goes back and down and then back. Okay, snake. That's what a snake draft is. Number 4. Each player, I forgot to tell you. The group of people you get together must be even. Okay? It has to be. It could be 8, it could be 10, it could be 12, it could be 14, it could be 20. This is just the size of your league. Just up to you. Number 4 is each player will get points for whatever they do, meaning each of the players on your team will get points based on what they do in the game. Okay, now, they can get points for catching a ball. They can get points for running a certain distance. They can get points for passing. That would be your quarterback. They could get points for... did I miss something? May have missed something. May have missed number 3, so we'll go back to number 3. Each week you choose players to go against the other person. So you've drafted these players, and now you choose which ones you want to play for you. You expect them to do well that week. You expect them to be really good at football that week, and then you make sure that they start. Okay? This is a very important part. Pay attention to bye weeks, meaning not when you're drafting, but you need to make sure if one of your players is on a bye week, or if one of your players is injured, do not let them play. Don't start them in your league. You need to change it. Okay? And here's the thing. You'll get better at it. Like, to begin with, it's a lot, but you'll get better at it. And so just the love of the game is what drives people to do this. And this is what drives me. I love this game. So again, going back, each player, number 4, each player will get points. Catching the ball, running a certain distance, passing a certain distance, getting touchdowns, getting field goals, getting sacks, getting interceptions, getting a pick 6, causing fumbles, losing fumbles. So if your player does good, they will get positive points. If your player does something bad, they will get negative points, okay? So it's very important to pay attention to how... it's not super important, but you want your player to get more positive than negatives. Number 5, self-explanatory. Whichever team at the end has the most points wins. Number 6, typically 10 to 12 weeks, and then 2 to 3 weeks of playoffs is how long the season is. And then one person will be the champion at the end. For me, personally, I think 15 to 20% of it is luck. I think the other 80 to 85% is skill. Like, I think it's paying attention to what's going on, knowing who's strong, knowing who might be injured, paying attention to bye weeks, paying attention to players that people don't have on their team, or paying attention to other teams that need somebody that you have, and then working a deal with them. Throughout the season, you'll do trades and waiver wire pickups. So trades are where one team has 1, 2, 3, 4 players that you want, and you give them, you guys trade players. Okay, just basically swap them around. They need running backs, you need wide receivers. They have wide receivers, you have running backs. So then you just trade. Okay, 1 for 1, 2 for 1, 2 for 2, whatever the value is, whatever you think is best for your team. Then you have the waiver wire, the waiver wire is basically any player, any NFL player that is not presently on one of the teams in your league. You can just go over, try and grab them. The waiver wire is kind of crazy. There are different ways to deal with it, and I'll break that down in another video later on. But that's typically the idea, is that you can do trades. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, it's late at night. You can do trades, or you can go pick up free agents. Free agents is basically somebody that's not on a team. Go and pick them up off the waiver wire. There are many different formats and different scoring formats. So the different formats is you have a redraft league, which means every year you draft again. Every year you just draft it new, okay? There are keeper leagues. Redraft is by far the most popular. And there are keeper leagues. Keeper leagues is where you get to choose to keep 1, 2, 3, 4, a certain amount of players that were on your team before. Okay, you had them on your team, and now you get to choose to keep them or not. There's Dynasty, which is where at the very beginning you do a Dynasty draft, which means you draft all the players in the NFL, or as many of them as you can. Then each year, this is for the long haul, you stay on this Dynasty team for a long time. Then the next year, you only draft rookies, because you keep the team that you had, and you only keep the rookies, or you draft the rookies. So it's a different strategy in that sense. Then you have what's called best ball, which is where you draft players, okay? And you don't have to do any management in the season at all. You don't have to do any management. So you just draft the players. You have to pay attention to bye weeks when you're drafting at that time. And whatever player has the most points for each position, the system automatically counts their points towards you, okay? So, and then the last one is daily fantasy, which means each week you choose which players you want to play for you. And typically this is for money. So if your team does really well, you get some money. If your team doesn't do well, no money. You pay money, you either get money or you just lose that money. You have what's called PPR and standard. PPR, the differences between PPR and standard. PPR stands for points per reception, or point per reception, meaning if your player catches a ball, they get 1 point. Could be running back, wide receiver, tight end, doesn't matter. If they catch it, they get a point. Standard, no. If they catch the ball, your wide receiver, running back, tight end catch the ball, it's like, yay! They don't get a point. Not in standard, only in PPR. And then there's also half point PPR. I did forget about that. There's half point PPR, which is instead of 1 point, you get half a point. Another scoring format is instead of your quarterback can get 4 points for throwing a touchdown, or he can get 6 points for throwing a touchdown. It's just up to your league, however you set it up. Different rosters would be like Superflex or like 2 quarterback leagues. Superflex is where you can use a quarterback as that flex position, where it was originally tight end, wide receiver, running back. You can now put a quarterback in there. Or you have what's called 2 quarterback leagues, okay? Quarterbacks are at a premium. Quarterbacks normally get the most points by themselves individually. So if you're in a 2 quarterback league, it means quarterbacks are more important. And then the last one is basically the commissioner chooses. Like however the points are, the commissioner just chooses. Or you as a league get to vote. It's like I'm in one right now where if a wide receiver gets 100 yards in a game, they get an extra 20 points or something like that, or like an extra 5 points or something. So if a wide receiver or running back get 10 yards, they'll get a point. So that would be 10 points for the wide receiver plus the extra 5, so 15 points total for that week. This is pretty insane. So that's just basically it. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions or any comments, just leave them down below. Just that way I know. Subscribe to me. I'll be posting more videos about fantasy football and things that I think you would find interesting. But the comments and the questions really help down below, so let me know. Otherwise, this is Nick signing off. Remember to always be thankful for life and just enjoy it.